What's good, everyone? Aggie Coach here. Welcome to video number 6, guys. We're getting down to it. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be covering special teams. We're going to be talking about the kickoff. There are 3 other things that I want to go ahead and cover in this video as well while I'm talking about the kickoff. We're going to cover the fumble procedure, how a fumble occurs, and what the procedure is for resolving that. We're going to cover fallen players, what happens when a player falls down on his own volition without being hit, if he just trips and falls, right, and falls down. And the other thing that we're going to cover is the cutback move or the juke move, which all returners are allowed to utilize. And then after that, I think that we'll be ready to go. All that will leave is punts and field goals, and then we'll be all set. We'll be ready to go. Now, there are, of course, a bunch of other rules that you guys have had an opportunity to see me implement during my season. That part of the rule system I use for solitaire play. You guys feel free to use those rules if you have the rule book. And for those of you who have your own solitaire leagues, if you are interested in the more specialized rules that we have in the FAT8 rule system, and by that I'm talking about things for solitaire, not things for like tournaments, which we will be having FAT8 tournaments. They are coming, and we're planning a FAT8 convention as well in the future. But what I'm talking about is things like the home field advantage special rules that we have for games, as well as coach leadership using athletic trainers. Team captains have their own special rules. If you're interested in like how players can get rattled and like stuff like that, stuff that's more specialized, let me know. If you guys want me to do a video on that stuff, I will. I didn't have any intention of doing a video on that stuff because not everyone is interested in that aspect of the gaming system. I was just only covering how to play. So if you guys are interested in the more specialized parts of the FAT8 rule system, you guys let me know. I know that everybody's not, and I'm not gonna just put it out there because probably only a handful of people are. So you guys let me know. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it now. The kickoff procedure is very simple. The receiving team lines up at the 50-yard line, and the kicking team lines up at about the 30-yard line. The ball is kicked from the 35-yard line per NCAA rules. Now, you have to be very careful here because you don't want to get an offsides penalty on you as the kicking team. The kicker has to approach the 35-yard line, and he has to get there first. Okay, the kicking team cannot cross the 35-yard line before their kicker, right? At that stage, we're gonna make a quick bump on the board, and that is gonna do it. So here we go. There we go. Now, in this case, nobody's offsides. As you can see, everyone is onside. The kicker has successfully kicked the ball. So now all you do is you just replace your kicker with your triple threat kicker or whatever you use to do your kicks, right? So now let me go through this really quickly. Once the ball is kicked, the ball is in the air, the ball is in play. All receivers have a 5-yard bubble around them, right? So if the ball drops within 5 yards of a returner, that returner is allowed to be moved up into the place where that ball is and advance the ball from there because it counts as catching the ball. For example, a returner is not going to stand still and look up in the air and watch the ball drop right in front of him and not do anything, right? Returners, I returned kicks. Returners adjust to the ball while it's in the air, right? They don't adjust like 20 yards, but they adjust to the ball while it's in the air to make the catch. So, as a general rule, okay, as a general rule, if the ball drops within a 5-yard radius of your returner, you are allowed to put him in the place of the ball wherever it is and advance the ball from there. If it is beyond 5 yards of the returner then has to go and get the ball. Okay? So, let me show you what I'm saying. So now we replace our kicker. We do our kick. Oh, wow, what do you know? Well, that was pretty easy. As you guys can see, it actually hit the returner, which I did not expect, right? That doesn't usually happen. So at this stage, we know who's returning the ball, okay? I want to do it one more time. That was great. I want to do it one more time. Deion Forbes actually caught that kick, and at that stage, he can advance the ball from there, okay? He can advance it from there. So, move this out of the way for now. I want to do it one more time. Just so that we can kind of try to cover as much as possible. So let's do it one more time. All right. That one actually went out the back of the end zone. The ball actually landed. So we kind of get 2 looks here. The ball actually landed right here on the 5-yard line, which is well over 5 yards from either of the returners, and then it went out the back of the end zone. So in that case, it would have been a touchback, and the Broncos will be taking the ball at the 20-yard line, right? So, as we saw in the first example, Deion Forbes actually caught the ball, right? So, I want to try to cover as many examples as I can. That's just one, right, where he caught the ball. Now, he can advance the ball from there. So, I'm going to move on to the next procedure at this stage. If you guys have any further questions, let me know. Now, you can adjust your blocking scheme. Now that our returner has caught the ball, you now can adjust your blocking scheme, and you can adjust your the kicking team as well. So in this case, I'm going to adjust my returner here. I'm sorry, I'm going to angle my returner here. I can now angle everyone else. So in this stage, everybody that's blocking, okay? And now, based on where the returner is, you can do the same thing for the kicking team. So you can angle everybody to go towards the return man. Okay. Now, let's talk about the juke move. Okay, on a kickoff return, the returner, once the returner crosses his 20-yard line, right, which is right here. Once he crosses his 20-yard line, you can stop the board only one time. Okay? So basically, once he gets to the 20-yard line, once he gets up here, you are allowed to you stop the board at that stage, right? And then you are allowed to make one juke move, and that's it. All right, or one cutback, and that's it. So it's like he's reading the defense. Okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and advance him up to the 20-yard line. Boom, right there. Right? Now, he's reading what he's seeing happening in front of him, right? He's reading what he's seeing happening in front of him. So at this stage, you can make one juke move at this stage, or one cutback at this stage. So while he's looking at what he's seeing, he's kind of trying to get a feel for what's happening. Keep in mind that the defense can also readjust to his change of direction as well. And that is only guys who are not engaged. So in this case, I'm gonna have him try to cut more over towards the sideline. Right? So that's his cut move. So that's him like seeing everything coming. Uh-oh, it looks heavy on the right side. Let me cut back to the left, right? So that's him making his cutback move. As you saw, we had a big hit up here. So that might be an injury. Now, let's get back to line of sight. Field vision into action, right? Remember, players whose backs are turned can't respond to what's happening because they can't see. Right? Now, this blocker, of course, can see because this is his side. He can see everything over here. So I'm going to pivot him. Okay, I'm going to pivot him. Right? These guys can see what's happening over here. Right? They can't see that he just cut back coming this way, but they can see these defenders. So I'm going to pivot them to try and go shield off these defenders over here. Okay? Now, these guys upfield up here, they're out of the play because they can't see anything behind them. So remember, things in the back of your base you can't see. They can't see anything, so they're out of the play. These two guys over here, remember, they can see along the sides, right? So they can see what's happening with the runner. They can see that the runner made a cutback. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pivot all of these guys, all of our defenders that can see. Now, this guy right here, he can't see anything, right? His back is completely turned, so I can't pivot him. He can't see anything. Okay, that is it. So at this stage, we let the board run, right? At this stage, there's no more adjustments. Whatever happens, happens. We let the board run at this stage. Oh, he broke it into the open. Look at that. He broke it into the open. I can't adjust anybody. They overran that play. Wow. He might run this back. And it is a touchdown. So as you can see, Deion Forbes ran the kick back for a touchdown. Wow. And the way our kickoff system is set up, it is very difficult to run kicks back because the defense is allowed to adjust to what they're seeing in front of them. So like running a kick back like this is a big deal because it is really difficult to run a lot of kicks back with the ability for the defense to adjust twice, coming at you. So him overrunning that play like that was a huge surprise, right? And this is where that comes from. This goes back to APW. And see, this is what I'm saying. It goes back to APW because you have players on the board that have different weights. So everybody is going to have different speeds, right? And players that are heavier are going to move slower than players that are lighter. But then on the flip side, players that are lighter have a higher probability of fumbling the ball and getting injuries. So this is what makes it really diverse and really dynamic. And I really like that idea. So that's it. That's the kickoff. Now, let's cover fumbles really quickly. How does fumbles happen? So if we go back, if Deion Forbes had been hit by a defender and got knocked over on his side, right? He got knocked over. If he had been hit by a defender, and not just a defender, it could have also been something like this. If his blocker was like this, blocking, and he ran up the blocker's back, boom, like this. He ran up the blocker's back and fell over. That's also a fumble, right? So anytime the returner falls over as a result of advancing the ball, it is a fumble. Now, here's the procedure for resolving fumbles. You're going to hold the ball 6 inches above the runner. You're going to drop the ball on his upper torso, not his legs, not his base, right? From hip to helmet. From hip to helmet only. You're going to drop the ball. The ball is going to move in a randomized direction. Like that. We can't control where it's going to go. All unengaged guys can then be pivoted to go and get the ball. After they pick up the ball, they can advance it towards their end zone. Or you can adjust people to go and make the tackle. Okay. As you can see, every time I do this, as you can see, it's going to move in a different direction. Right? So this, see, and we don't know how far or how close, right, the ball is going to go. We don't know. So every time it happens, it's going to go in a different direction, which really, really makes it difficult for any one team to have an advantage over the other, which is the way that it goes. You know, in football, when someone has the ball knocked out, the football, it bounces all over the place on the ground, and you have players scrambling trying to get the ball, and this is what this represents. So that is the fumble rule. That's how that works. Now, there's one other rule that we got to look at, and that is the fallen player rule. So, for example, any player that falls down on the board during a play, doesn't matter whether it's special teams, whether it's offense, or whether it's defense. Any player that just falls over without being knocked over by a defender, that player does not count as being injured. But that player counts as slipping down and falling, and as a result, that player is considered a dead player. You can't touch him during the play. He's on the ground. He's dead. He's out of the play. Because in football, plays happen so fast. Things happen so fast. If a linebacker comes up to make a play and he slips and he falls, there is no way that he's going to get up and run the running back down from behind, right? Or cover in a pass, right? So again, sticking to realism, in the FAT8 rule system, if a player falls down on his side, on the kickoff, on a pass play, on a running play, on a field goal, punt, any of those, fallen players are fallen players. They stay down until the end of the play. Then they get a chance to get up and try it again next time. Right? So, that is it, man. That is the way that our kickoff system works. Pretty easy. Returners have a 5-yard bubble around them. If the ball drops within 5 yards of them, they count as adjusting to catch it, and then they can advance it. Otherwise, the ball drops on the field. They have to go get the ball, and then they can advance it from there. You make all of your adjustments. Once the runner reaches the 20-yard line, he's allowed to make one cutback, right? Or one juke move. He makes his one cutback. He advances upfield. All the defense is allowed to adjust to that as well. And that is it. And that's the way that our kickoff system works. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to stop it here. We're at 18 minutes. Don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the support. See you in the next video.